And without further ado, let's get into the first topic for today, which is something that I think was probably one of the first things you reached out to me and texted me about in your hiatus from the NBA. And that was Chris Paul, the whole situation, the whole kerfuffle with him and the Clippers organization. You know, he's the best player in franchise history. He got sent home basically in the middle of the night on a road trip in Atlanta, I think, somewhere on the East Coast. It was pretty weird. And you had thoughts.
From just a sports fan perspective, why, if you're the Clippers, just let him ride it out. Unless there's some heinous activity going on, in terms of he's even for a bad team, he is a detriment to us as an organization. I don't know. Just because that type of a guy is that's, to me, to a lesser degree, this is just the Bulls being Michael, you're not the same anymore. You're not locked in. It's gotta go. What? And also, the other thing is the Clippers, no one from that Clippers era where they were the Clippers are dangerous. They would always lose, but
Lob City, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Blake Griffin, pretty publicly, he's I didn't love how my time ended. It's over. It's whatever. But he's cool about it, but he's probably not going to be a pro Clippers guy moving forward in his time in the media. Because
they did him dirty and traded him to Detroit right after locking him up. And because he had a free agency year where he looked like he had the world to choose from. You know, he had a bunch of offers. One of the main suitors was Denver, actually, with a very young Nikola Jokic on the team. That could have been interesting. But he apparently was persuaded by Steve Ballmer and the Clippers, or Lawrence Frank, actually, the GM, when they showed him a video comparing him to Gandhi and all these big figures or whatever, and then had a fake jersey retirement ceremony in the Staples Center and everything. They displayed all that for him to try to tug at the heartstrings and got him to resign there. And literally the next summer they traded him after he had a bit of a down year. They traded him to the Pistons. So
yeah, and then he had a sick career resurgence where he turned into point forward Blake Griffin. That was a fun wrinkle. But then DeAndre Jordan also not I love the Clippers organization. And then the last guy that they had that it didn't end great, but this last year you assumed, oh, this guy will be, but no, they just said get out in the middle. That was also weird, the circumstances of it. Did he threaten to kill someone? What did he do that was so egregious that you couldn't let him finish out the road trip even?
Yeah, I don't know about that part. Other than apparently that game they played, he made an adjustment. In the words of Jeff Van Gundy, he made a defensive adjustment, which from Chris Paul's side of the story, he said that he just mentioned in the huddle that Kawhi, he was defending Klay Thompson, maybe I think it was, who was going off. And Kawhi, he's not as young as he used to be. He's a great defender. But chasing shooters around screens and stuff isn't his specialty, especially now at his limited mobility. And so Chris Paul just made a comment saying do we want to look at maybe switching that up? Do we want to put somebody else on Klay? And apparently they made this change. Kawhi did, at least amongst the players, but somehow that was not communicated to the coaching staff. I don't know how that happens, but Jeff Van Gundy, who's the defensive coordinator, was he called Chris Paul after the game and was hey, on that last, possession or the last few minutes of the game, did you make an adjustment? Did you switch Kawhi off of Klay? And he's no, I just suggested it. We talked about it. But yeah, they did it or whatever. And he was well, you might have had that kind of leeway other places in your career, but you don't have that here. And so that's what prompted Chris Paul to tweet or put on his Instagram story the definition of the word leeway. That's when that happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I guess he got a call later that road trip in his hotel room telling him that he had been sent away from the team. Not even by the coach or anything. It was just telling him as if it already happened, essentially. So I think it's just Chris Paul being the guy he's been his entire career, which is very active and in voicing his opinion, very assertive. But now he's on a team with not a bunch of young guys who are looking up to him. It's a bunch of his peers that don't look up to him the same type of way. And also he's not even in the rotation at this point, or he wasn't at that point for a team that was struggling. So it's probably a bunch of people rolling their eyes and being we don't want to hear from you anymore. But I don't think that it warranted what they did. Honestly, it's
that's insane to me because one, out of all of the NBA franchises, for Chris Paul to have leeway.
Yeah, it's very true.
The Los Angeles Clippers are one of 30.
Yeah.
They're at the top of the list of places where Chris Paul could do almost whatever he wanted. Mm-hmm. But also, what's even worse is that feels like a thing that Chris Paul would do, maybe a little bit less kind than it was. Like, he might have been a little bit more like, dude, Kawhi, like, we need to, might have said it in a little bit more snarky way, whatever. I thought when you started the story, Kawhi got pissy because that just is also very on par for Kawhi. But then you said Van Gundy. I'm like, this is also a very Van Gundy thing to be like, hey, dang it. Hey, guy, this is my boat. Stop touching the steering wheel. This is my defense. That's also a very Van Gundy thing to do. He'd probably do that to LeBron. He would do that to everyone. Like, he would look Jokic, who is deemed now, thank goodness, by everyone, from what I've gathered, as a basketball genius. Everyone knows that he knows ball better than anybody in the NBA currently. He would look him in the eyes and say, hey, man, you play, I'll make these decisions. That's a Van Gundy thing to do. That is even more. They are, if I'm a Clippers fan, I quit. Find someone else. Go be, I love the Kings. I love the Suns. Someone else.
That's a better one. Yeah. Kings is a tough one, but
I guess it would be hard to stomach. But I'm just like, no, be like, I am locked in for the Vegas team before it happens. I'm an early adopter. Just find someone else because you're already the second fiddle in LA, which you have to deal with. And then also, your team hates you. And they're stupid people. No, because like, it's just so bizarre to me that like teams are not understanding the value of having a media guy that is I'm not going to shut up about you. I will never speak ill of you ever. Like, they don't understand the value of that, I don't think, yet.
Yeah, because they only have the opposite.
They're going to have the opposite for the next forever. And fun fact, odds are Chris Paul's not going anywhere. Chris Paul is either going to be on TV somewhere, or I think he's going to be a coach somewhere. And that's an even bigger issue because then every single player that is under Chris Paul is going to hear how he was done dirty because that's who Chris Paul is. Let's go through the secret tunnels and fist fight Rajon Rondo. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy work.
Yeah, especially that it was his swan song year.
Yeah, it was his, I'm going to go to all these places and I'll get a smoothie from the Smoothie King Center. And I'll get I don't know if they would have given him part of the floor in TD Garden. Like, he would have gotten a lot of like that after All-Star break when these things always go crazy. He would have been given a lot of flowers, deservedly so. Actually, the Smoothie King Center, they might have not because of where they are. Never mind. I didn't think about that. Like him leaving the New Orleans thing. And
I don't think it's
really
sour.
Malicious, but I just think that like, it's just so stupid to me. Like, do you not have a brain?
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy move. And I think it was also a genius move by Chris Paul afterwards to screenshot and put out the FaceTime.
The FaceTime with the boys.
DJ and Blake Griffin. Yeah.
Genius. Even if it wasn't a malicious PR move, and it's just like, we're all just laughing about that dumpster fire over there. Still just awesome.
Yeah. Because it gets all the fans on their side for sure. That they're like,
everyone's like, well, any worry we had that Chris Paul was just an asshole is over because
these are the Clippers that we love.
Yeah.
This current team is not.
Yeah. What else do Clippers fans like 35, or we'll say 40 beyond? You don't remember like the brief stint of other guys you had back in the day when they weren't even in LA. It's just Lob City. That's like all that is there. Lob City and that weird 8 seed team that everyone was terrified of. Those are like the only two things that they have of like, anyway, that's crazy.
And everybody's gone. Ivica Zubac is the only one that's still here that was from that era. That 8 seed. Yeah, he's the only one.
We have like a bunch of the 6 men of the year. How's he doing? Oh, maybe we should keep it to the big headlines this episode. Yeah. And the next episode, like do the West. So I can ask about my guys and then do the East. Maybe that's a better way to do it.
To answer Zubats, though, he started off slow, but he's been picking it up a lot more recently.
Zid the wall, baby.
Yeah.